Here we go. Welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, whoever you are out there. Round 5, Zandvoort, wet. This is Logistical Nightmare Racing Tuesday night TVT Championship. And of course, as you look at the boys, currently we are going to kick over to a qualifying session not long from now. So again, hold on to your seats because the action will start soon. So let me just see who's the boys that kicks out of the pit stops first. Probably the hardest ones to figure out. As you can see, they're all lining up, going out the pit lane. A very, very wet Zandvoort in the Dutch country this evening here at LNR. Again, this is round 5. We still got one more round to go next week for the finals. Now, while these boys go around the outlap, I'm probably just going to make you aware of where we stand with the championship points. So currently at the top of the log, as you can see, the tides have shifted. Teenage Tornado has all of a sudden jumped to the lead of the championship, running at 430 points. VXR Vipers, who has been leading this championship up until last week, has dropped down to second place. And then the BWL, or the B Wall Lovers, has gone to third positions. So again, a couple of changes after one race, as we've discussed last week and the weeks prior to this. This is all about a team championship, and these boys have to work and unite and drive as a team, compete as a team, to gather as much points collectively as they can throughout the season of 6 races, to which we will then determine who is the best team racer. Now, of course, on the sideline, we do keep an eye out on who's the leading leaders of the individual drivers, but that is of less importance to us than the teams, because you might have 1 or 2 good races that will just bring it up the notch for you, as we've just seen. So a shift in tides for the championship points. Wet race at Zandvoort, and to be honest, even on dry conditions, this is a tough track. One of those where you qualify is probably where you end, and with a slight difference, depending on how the first sector followed by maybe half of the second sector goes at the start of the race. You could gain a few positions, you could fall a few positions, or you could end up going back to the pit box, fixing a magnitude of damages. So I'm hoping this evening these boys are going to behave themselves. Currently just looking at Nel Bullion here doing his outlap. Of course, these timelines will soon pick up very shortly. I haven't seen anyone crossed at this best moment. Still a few individual boys out on track. And of course, I'm going to try and focus on as many of them as I can. LTR boys, Lorero, also known as one of the quick individuals up there. He's on his outlap, and I think the guy in front of him is from Pace Motorsports. Now that could either be Kalen Mawa, who's been fighting it out at the top end of it, or Van der Sant, or other individuals. You see, no, that's definitely not Van der Sant. Van der Sant's driving the Aston Martin for Pace Motorsport. Okay, so where are we sitting? Jacques Vermeulen currently puts it on pole. He's been taken out of position there by Nel Bullion, the guy in the Aston Martin that we did watch out for. And then of course M. Leroux from VXR Vipers, currently the team in second place, putting it out in second. J. Luck, again, this is just going to go crazy as we go through it. VXR Taipan boys, and now that's a sexy looking livery there. Don't know if I've seen that before. I'm fairly certain Luck had a livery of something of a magnitude, luminous green and white. So These boys came out this week with new colors. And I gotta admit, black, purple, and yellow is definitely a sexy look, in all fairness. I mean, the color combo is just magnificent. The lines is fantastic. So, big ups to whoever made that livery. Thumbs up to you bringing it to the racing side of it. In new pole position, now of course Sean Stradom has been battling it out for most of the season, putting it in pole. He's normally challenged by a guy called Vincent Null in an Aston Martin. And then of course we still have the boys like Bauer, Galen Mauer, LaRue, Vermeulen, Findlay. Those boys, top of my head, will always challenge for the position. Again, new livery here by the LNR boys. I think this is the Team B-Wow. So, third in position, and he's got a bit of traffic ahead of him, so does need to work a bit harder on that, considering that there's still a lot to do for him. And I think he's probably going to pull back, because I don't see him doing much more than fighting the car ahead of him. So less than 5 minutes to go. Jacques Vermeulen is up by about half a second on his tally point. Paul Venter, on the other hand, he's up by a full second at this stage. So I'm guessing the tires are pretty warmed up. He's still going through into sector 2. Now this is where the long S's is, coming through the deep, struggling right-hander. This one's you gotta be a bit patient before you start hitting that throttle. And then of course, avoid the curbs as much as possible. He has lost a bit of time based on where he started at about 1 second of a gap. So a very good first sector for him in total. The fastest first sector on the grid. It does make sense why he immediately jumped up there instantaneously. Galen Mawa, on the other hand, is the man in second place. Now, he did have quite a few challenges last week at Valencia. This week he's looking very strong in the Aston Martin. Of course, I can believe an Aston Martin in these conditions should dominate, just because it's such a beautiful car to drive in wet conditions. An overall well-balanced endurance car. However, these days I'm seeing the cars like the Ferrari, the McLarens, and the new Porsches coming up on the grid. It's been a while since we've seen so many Ferraris on grid, but it does sound like everyone is enjoying this new Ferrari car. Jacques Vermeulen currently in second, going back to Bauer, who's up a few tenths. Can he break it into the top 3? No. Oh, he does. Puts it in second place. So again, challenge is up for everyone. We now have 2 Ferraris in first and second, followed by a Porsche, and then of course a string of Aston Martin there. LaRue and his Aston Martin bringing it up. Let's just go a bit to the back of the pack. Where's my favorite man, Herzog? Ooh, now that is not the livery I would have expected to see. This man always brings out one of the most beautiful liveries I've seen till date. Today it's a black car completely, so it must have been something wrong from my end downloading the liveries this evening. I did notice that I had like a massive pack to download, so it's all just about good choice selections, and I didn't do my homework properly. Going back to more favorites, again LTR up here, Dylan Hall in second. Naval here, also here for the LTR boy in 20th position, fighting as hard as he can to bite the bullet. Lee Bullion though, now that is out of the blue. Lee Bullion in 15th spot. I would have never seen this man jump the gun in front of a man called Laredo in 15th at this moment, or 16th. So that is vast amounts of improvements where I have ever seen this man qualified till date. I don't know what he has done, but rumor has it, whatever that speed juice is, he definitely did get some. And looking mighty fine in that lower end of qualifying. That is a phenomenal time from him. Dave Young, on the other hand, also driving in the LNR here. In 9th position, he's trying to fend off Neil Greening here with the Ferrari. Top 5 boys at the moment. Still Strijdom, Bauer, Mawa, Jacques Vermeulen, and then Nel Bullion. Hannes van der Sand, new guy on the block. He's currently in the pits in 6th. And of course we've got Robson and LaRue, Young, and then we are looking at Greening. And let's just see if I can find more individuals. This is the final spot of qualifying. And I need to find those individuals that are making up vast amount of time in Delta. The only one at this stage is Paul Venter. It's about a half a second quicker than what he was previously. Still not the best first sector time, but he did improve on his second sector. Can he pull it through? Final one brings it into 7th place. Good finish there. Naval, on the other hand, he is working just as hard as well. Probably about the only guy on the track that can potentially dig into that top 15 spot. That is if he keeps it together though. Overall, he has certainly improved on his first and second sector marginally. All what you do in the final sector here. Does look good. It does look like a clean exit. I cannot fault anything wrong with that exit. Looks absolutely gorgeous. Yes, puts him into 16th. I was hoping for a 15, but 16 is definitely a good take. Kalen Mauer did not manage to improve, but nonetheless tried his damnedest to do the best he could. Now let's just see if we can look at the times.
Alright, conditions are wet. We have some slippery curves, and also watch out for your braking distance.
That's right. Go to drive mode. There we go. Okay, pull this in the box. See if I can do a quick flyby. I've got a 1 minute 30 to do this all, and I'll do this as best as I can in the most prominent way. So we got Strijdom followed by Bauer. Then we got Kalen Mauer in car 11, followed by Jacques Vermeulen, Neil Bullion in 58 Aston, Hannes van der Sand car 32, Paul Venter in 42 with a Ferrari, Robson in 8 with car 764 Ferrari, Dave Young, M. LaRue, who I haven't seen that far up the grid till date, so best of luck to him, Neil Greening, and of course Jason Luck in his Porsche, Lorero from the LT boys in 12 with the Ferrari, followed by Findlay, and of course Holzhausen running a beautiful LNR and everything there, Chic, Naval, then of course Duplessis, Bullion in 18th, E. Mouton in 19th, 20th we've got Wolfert, followed by Marais, and of course Vanneberg, and then Bueta there with the Ferrari. Now again, this is going to be one hell of a grid start, more than 20 drivers on track, and in all fairness, 20 cars, wet conditions. I do not see that the weather is going to clear up at all. 65 minutes of racing. Now that's just encroaching above the 1 hour mark. I reckon these boys probably have enough fuel to last us through that section, considering that we have wet conditions here. I think in most dry circumstances that would probably not be the case. course, I've got to make sure that all my goodies is up and running. A few minor incidents in qualifying noted, but nonetheless the race conditions has not changed. Nor has anything else. We do it from a helicam view. I do hope at some other point we've all seen the new updates in the F1 track there at that hairpin corner. It kind of looks like more of an embankment turn as what it is at this stage. So it would be very nice for the ACC boys, again, they won't listen to these minor streams over this end. If they could actually go and update that. I mean, small minor track changes does make it more exciting for track. This is one of those Dutch tracks that's been here for ages, and the recent development even in F1 is absolutely fantastic. Now that doesn't make this track the easiest track to drive. It also doesn't make this track the most driven track in ACC. It's probably one of those that people would tend to avoid than anything else, purely because of the amount of potential incidents that can occur. I mean, you can look at that whole string from where the guys are all the way here at the back end. Just car followed by car followed by car. I mean, the leader at the present moment is filtering through into the final sector, whereas the guy way at the back here, Ferrara, is still going into 2 more corners. So lots of work for these boys to do. Ferrara, the man in the Lamborghini. Do we have 2 Lamborghinis on track? Where is my other Lamborghini going? Love to see them. Again, so side by side action to take place very shortly. And then we're just going to wait for the race to start off. While we do that, I'm just going to go pop over and see who is on the stream. So what boys like Alan, complaining about my buffering speed. I hope it's better. I'm sorry. I realize that was the thing. I'll check it out as we go. Race has started. Everyone off the grid at the present stage. I do hope my buffering situation has not caused any causing incidents to those, and that you can see the race as I'm seeing it. Of course, now I have first-hand experience of where we are. Currently not seeing a lot of yellows popping up in my screen, so having a wet race, these boys seem to be behaving themselves, which is fantastic. This race will evolve 2 Ferraris running at front, back to back, followed by an Aston Martin of Kalen Mawa. Then of course Jacques Vermeulen also there in 4th position. 5th we still have Nel Bullion, so it doesn't look like the top 5 has changed much. 6th Hannes van der Sant also there. Now he's in a bit of a spot of a bother because he's got 2 challenging boys behind him, and it looks like Leroux has gained a few positions. I recall that this man started in 10th, he's currently in 8th, but he also has his teammate not far from him. And that's just me looking at the back end. Goes on the inside, makes the move on the Ferrari. Does he have it though? Seems like based on speed, Paul Venter is not going to let it go though. 2 boys fighting it into the corner, forces Paul to go deep. Does that compromise his speed a bit? Perhaps not, but compliments there to Leroux, thinking wisely of what to do next. They don't want to compromise his race. We are still at the beginning phases of the race itself. These boys have finished their first lap. As you can see, there's a hole being extremely wide. Now there's a magnitude of spray that these boys are experiencing. So I can just imagine the visibility that they have. Again, everyone on the stream, just give me a shout out and tell me whether you still have buffering issues or is there anything from a visual or vocal point that is not to your liking, I will go and just check it out on our YouTube channel just to see if I have any issues on my end. The stage, I don't see anything, so I do hope it looks good. I just went into a peak and everything looks mighty dandy to me. So where are we from a racing point of view? Top 5 are really still close to one another. Stratum has not yet managed to shake off any of the boys behind him. Created a bit of a gap, and when I say a bit, we're still within the first few seconds. Bauer, on the other hand, looks to be under severe pressure there by Kaylen Mawa. Kaylen Mawa looks hungry to drive this evening, but he is also aware that there's a Porsche behind him waiting to pounce on the opportunity if and when he makes a mistake. And in all fairness, the truck is really looking mighty dandy this moment. LaRue backed off a bit. He has somehow still managed to make a move on Vermeulen, Venter. So Venter has dropped one position from where he has started. Now the question stands, does LaRue have it in him to gain more track position? Goes in a bit deep, opens up the door for Venter, but then again Venter needed to yield because there was just no other opportunity for him to take that point. And right on Venter's rear end is teammate Bentley from LaRue, so that our VXR Taipan boys is really giving everyone sticks today. And Luck just looks like he's got the same color scheme as those boys ahead of him. This is just all, yeah, there's 3 of them. 3 teams in general smashing it out with similar colors. Must admit, racing is of epic nature this evening. Lorero there in a mix. He's got a ton of car ahead of him. He's followed by his teammate, sandwiched in between 2 LNR boys. And of course we've got Holzhausen in another Porsche with a livery that I have not seen yet, and gotta admit that's matte black gorgeous. Back of the pack, still more battles there. Marais, he's fighting it out with a string of Ferraris behind him. Now of course we've got like 5 of them following each other. We've got Lee Bullion, and I'm going to try and helicam this as best as I can so we can just have a vision of it. There are 2 Ferraris there. Ooh, one going extremely wide there. That is Duplessis. He will lose momentum there, which will put him under severe pressure. Hall will try and make the move. Duplessis goes defensive. No move make, goes in deep though. Does he have enough momentum to stay ahead? Certainly does. Now the task at hand is, can Hall capitalize back again? Heineke here at the back, again in 27th position. I'm going to try and give everyone as much stream time as I can, because gotta admit, when it rains, clean racing and driving standards and everything else just seems to elevate the boys, and I am definitely loving it. I don't know about you, but if anyone thinks otherwise, clean racing is far better. Alan going, yes, it's okay. No, it was terrible earlier. I'm so sorry, Alan. I have absolutely no idea why it was so terrible earlier. Must have been a massive dip on my end that it caused it, which I find unusual, so let's hope it stays there. 5 minutes of racing has passed. Very few incidents have been recorded till date. Kelvinabar, however, has been involved in an incident there. Now he's going to drop a few spots. two cars going into that corner, quite dodgy in all fairness. It will compromise both of their exit speeds. Now that Ferrari boy is clever, which I would assume is not Hall, would be not Mouton. I don't know who that is. Puerta, that's Puerta. So Puerta could make it through. He can capitalize on a position. Still fighting it out here at the back. Now this is at the back for 24th position. Puerta sandwiched in between two drivers, Kel van der Berg and it looks like Sabata. Both boys are driving for Pace Motorsports. Of course, I would believe that Kel van der Berg is the man with the pace, but Zapata is the one ahead of Van der Berg. Of course, Van der Berg was the one that also made a slight error not so long ago. So plenty of action all around. Everyone continuously to improve the second sector times. It's just phenomenal how they all do it. Fastest lap at the moment is Findlay. Now he is the man that has put the quickest track time down with a 1:43.245. And just as I said that, Stradom smashes it out with a 1:43.1. So that is, and Jacques Vermeulen. So boys are really picking up the pace. That's a 1:42.9 by Vermeulen. Three fastest lap drivers in a span of less than 5 seconds. That has moved drastically. So this race still continues. Bauer, he's still trying to fend off Mawa. Vermeulen has backed off a bit, so not a lot of action from his point. Slight fumble there in the front, and that was Galen Mawa. He did pick up the slack, didn't lose a lot of time in all fairness. So still retains his third place position, but now he's under pressure by Vermeulen. Good thing he held it together. I would assume it's just a slight loss of focus for entering that corner. So, as this goes on, 55 minutes of racing, going back to Jason Luck, VXR Type A. He's got two Ferraris behind him. Individuals like Greening from LNR, Lorero from LTR, Neville from LTR, and then of course Robson from LNR. There's too many L's and T's and so forth, so it's a good thing I didn't mess that up at all. Still good action all across. Luck has managed to create a bit of gap between himself and Greening, so somewhat of a breathing space. Here at Mawa for third position, the delta between these three cars have decreased significantly. Of course, Kaylan Mawa, fastest man for We Are Pace, or as what everyone would know them from the console community side back, GT Sport, GT7. Man, these boys race practically everywhere. Is the leading team driver for their team at this moment. Now he is not that far ahead though of his fellow teammate Van der Sand. Now whether these two boys are driving together, I would assume they are, And I'm going by guess that Kel van der Berg and Zapata is in a team just based on the cars that they're driving. So Hannes van der Sand, a man that also originated from the console side of it, back in the PCBs. And to be fair, I cannot recall seeing him in many PC races. He's currently trying to fend off Leroux, who has been probably one of the most consistent top 5 finisher this season. Now again, last week was probably not the best race for him, and I believe there's a couple of incidents that he was involved in, or either or, but it didn't end well for them. Hence, at this present stage, the team itself has slotted down to second place in general. But by the stance at this moment, both Leroux and Findlay, and then of course you've got Luckner in the Porsche, are looking phenomenally strong to do a great finish this evening. Now, going back to the discussion of Van der Sand, he is also known as a console guy. Used to drive console quite a lot. I know most of these boys are ex-console, then migrated into PC. But to be fair, as I said, it's been a while since I've seen him on track, and seeing him on track doing this great just brings an absolute big smile to my face. Man, welcome back. If I haven't said it before, and I didn't say it before, I am sorry. If you have raced throughout the season and I haven't seen you in it, I apologize. Welcome. Welcome to the PC world. That's all I got. And he's got a bit of work to do, because again, Paul Venter is in the mix there. Leroux in the mix. Front of the back, they are getting closer to one another once again. So the gap that there was between Bauer and Galen Mawa, has decreased substantially. Now, it's easy to catch up to a car. Trickier is to pass, and that is going to be the optimal challenge for these boys this evening. Those that can and those that cannot. Now, of course, there is no limitation here this evening. It's a full-on 65-minute race this evening. Pit stops is not needed. Fuel pits, probably not needed. Tire changes, I would say definitely not needed. I think the biggest question is, can these cars go for 65 minutes without fueling? To what I would think, I would say yes. I mean, logic tells me rain races use less fuel than what dry track conditions does. So I'm going to go with a full-on yes. Unless anyone else can tell me otherwise. Anyone on the stream that can figure it out. Oh, fatal error, Mare, out of the packet. Kicking and screaming, that is absolutely terrible. Where were you, Mare? Not nice at all to get a fatal error. Challenge on between these two boys. Mawa tried the inside line, backed off a little bit. This is severe focus. At this stage, it looks like Bauer is the block holder for these gentlemen behind him to move forward. Now, whether that's nerves kicking in or the man not feeling very comfortable with his car, that is to be determined. But he is definitely under severe pressure. Kalen Mawa is looking at all angles to make a move here, knowing that he's got two other LNR boys behind him that is going to capitalize if and when any of these two make a mistake. Have to choose your battles wisely is what I would normally say, up until a point that frustration will set in. You can feel that you as a driver are faster. that you as a driver are faster. However, passing is more difficult than catching. Down the start-finish straight line they go. No Bullion going a bit off track there. Howard didn't look like he's going defensive though, so he is very confident in the speed of that Ferrari. No mistakes this time around coming into the first corner. Good gap in general between him into the back of the grid here. Both Venter and Leroux still fighting it out. Hannes van der Sand ahead of the pack there, keeping his nose clean and focused. Gotta admit, the level of driving this evening is absolutely phenomenal. This is what sim racing is all about. I'm telling you all, and for those that actually do watch the stream, if you don't bring this next week on the final race, then it's tickets. I'm just going to go with it's tickets. But this is beautiful. 20 minutes of racing and it's just phenomenal. Ooh, as Novell goes off the track, comes back on track, makes a spin. Oh, that was never going to end up well for him. Coming back on track with all the momentum he had, losing it as he entered. Of course, that's a few positions lost. It does put Holzhausen ahead of him. Holzhausen is the man in the other LNR car, so a couple of positions gained. The LTR boys really struggling this evening, just not finding the groove with the track conditions at this stage. Going back to the front of the grid, these boys are still battling it out as they progress. Ooh, Bauer, big mistake by him. Opens the door for Mauer. Bauer takes second place. And that is an instantaneous scenario. Again, this is what is needed. Now all of a sudden, Kalen Mauer has got clear track view, open peripheral vision, and he needs to go down and hunt Sean Stradom, which I reckon he feels he can do. It's only 4 seconds of a gap. Vermeulen, on the other hand, is still behind Bauer. Neil Bullion is trying to fend off Hannes van der Sand. So the base boys, or we are base team, is moving forward. And when I say moving forward, challenging for all the positions they can get. Of course, Leroux is still in the mix. He is fighting it out with Paul Venter. I just cannot believe it. This racing this evening is really, really good. Like, phenomenal. Anyone on the stream that if you want to see someone specific, give me a shout out and I'll go to that individual and check it out from that point. Best as I can. Action at this present state is at the front of the grid. I will go back where there are more base boys fighting it out for 19th and 20th. This is Sabata on Van der Bar. And then of course we've got Pullen, Desmond Pullen, driving on Tuesday night. He's got Wilford in the only Mercedes challenging for position. Good to see him back in the mix. SRS, however, got a stop go 30-second penalty. Now that's got to do with a pit stop penalty as opposed to anything else. So, to the front of the grid. Everyone being very cautious here. Howard only lost 1 position. does have Jacques Vermeulen behind him. Now, of course, these boys are what one would conclude fellow teammates in general circumstances. As everything evolves going forth, I want to go a bit to the back of the grid where there is potentially more action. Dave Young, somehow I believe he qualified way ahead of the pack. I have no idea how this man is 4 laps down. So is T Ferrara 5 laps down. So something must have happened drastically for these boys to occur what it has occurred. RSF standing there at the end of the pit exit. Now he has done his stop-go 30-second penalty, which will drop him down position-wise, but not as severe as he is. Lee Bullion, on the other hand, in 23rd spot, he's trying to catch up to these individuals, which is Pullen and Wolford. Now, I think that's Essop. No, that's not Essop. Oh, it's a 3-way battle going on here. Van der Berg, Pullen, and Wilfred. So Van der Berg might have had another mistake there, because he's dropped quite a bit. As he goes off the track one more time, that's going to compromise his speed entry. Pullen trying to get to the inside line. Now, of course, the Mercedes off the racing line as well. Pullen putting it in. Great move by him. Well, this is what two drivers go like side by side, but the one trusts the other one. Will Van der Berg drop another position again? Of course, you've got two cars side by side here into the hairpin, battling it out. Pullen going fourth. Van der Berg does not want to concede another position. He's already lost one. Wilfred sticks his nose in it, takes it, and capitalized. Conceded by Van der Berg. Probably had no real choice in the matter there. Holtzhausen, on the other hand, he's being chased down by Neville. Now, of course, Neville did drop back a little bit just because of a slight incident that he had not so long ago. But he is all over the back of that Porsche. Neil Greening, Loureiro, and of course Paul Venter, two I would call LNR boys versus an LTR boys, battling it out for dominance and position. Of course, this is for 10th spot, so anything can occur. While this goes forth, Findlay, on the other hand, he has made a few positions. Jacques Vermeulen seems to have made an error, dropped a couple of spots. Findlay gained a spot. That does favor these boys quite a bit from a team's perspective. LaRue is way there in front, and of course he has gained a few positions on his end as well. So it seems like the two LNR boys, whether it be Bauer and of course Jacques Vermeulen, could have potentially had an incident. Now, let me just see if I can pick that up. That would be car 39, yes, and car 1, yes. They definitely did car one did have a spin, so those two boys made contact with each other, which have now cost them their positions challenging for third spot. That changes the situation quite drastically, because now we have two pace boys in first and second, and we have the VXR Vipers in fourth. How a small incident can change so quickly, so vastly. And of course, Finley is the man under pressure, teammate of LaRue. He has a Porsche behind him, followed by another Porsche. Jacques Vermeulen seems angry, and I cannot blame him. However, that incident has occurred, caused him to drop position. Finley goes deep, opens the door for the Porsche. Jacques Vermeulen takes the position. That was a rookie mistake there by Finley. Went slightly too deep in, braking for sector 1. Now he's not going to give that up as quickly as what Jacques thinks. Jacques got to go and fend it off. Just make sure that he can break the line and get back into that momentum. Still we have two VXR boys. They are now sandwiched in between a bunch of LNR boys. Because we still have Paul Venter here in 10th, who has managed to keep both Greening and Lorero behind him. Lorero, on the other hand, very close to Greening, but hasn't managed to capitalize on that this time around. That is quite close in general. If he gets this final exit perfect, then he might be able to challenge for that position heading into turn 1. To be fair, it doesn't look like Greening making any errors of the exit, so Greening will certainly not go into defensive mode there. Hannes van der Sant, on the other hand, is the new man being hunted for that third spot. So even though Hannes gained that position by individuals losing track position, fight is still going on. Currently, it might just look like P1 secured, P2 secure, unless they really make a mistake, causing them to lose their two well-deserved spots. Paul Venter picking up as the man in yellow. He's standing off track at this moment, so he's going to sit there and wait for quite some time on the side of the road. He has to be kicking himself if that was a human error on his end. Brings the car back in safely though, but loses all the spots that he had, probably going to drop him all the way to the back of the grid. I'd love to see what that was, in all fairness. So I'm going to go back probably as far as I can, and let's just see what has happened. Paul Venter going through the corner there. Oh, went wide, loses it. Everyone avoids him completely. So again, avoidance by the other driver, puts it in the wall, but that was a slight brush from his end. Have to admit, well played to everyone behind him, and has managed to maintain that. They just go to the front of the grid now. Of course, this is a bit of a replay session. Still have about a few seconds here, seeing no issues anywhere else. Not many changes. Van der Sant still being challenged for that podium. He has managed to create a bit of a gap between himself and LaRue. And that could be because Nel Bullion is challenging LaRue for his position. The better pressure from the rear end, potentially causing LaRue to go a bit defensive as opposed to for everyone to focus on. This is the closest battle. It's all about exit. I would want to go back to 10th place where Greening and Lorero are battling it out. Now Bullion here looking on the inside, but then decides to yield. Does it happen the same here at the back where Greening is leading Lorero? Does Lorero peek out of the in? No, still decides to stay tucked in behind the Ferrari there. At some point frustration might settle in, but very wise between these two. Focus on the long term, get the race finished out. Holzhausen on the other hand, still battling it out there with Neville. They've got Van Wyk in 15th. Of course, we have Dylan Hall in 16th, Buerta in 17th, Paul Venter has dropped down all the way to 18th. Sabata, on the other hand, is in 19th. He has made a move on Pullen. Then, of course, you've got Kel van der Berg, Lee Bullion, Duplessis, and Vickers. Slight error incident here for the Mercedes on all the way up onto the hill. That is not the best spot to be. Still tries to stay out of everyone's peripheral vision. Good driving standards is used. Very, very, very good driving standards. Sabata, on the other hand, makes a big oopsie coming into the final corner. Witness does catch people off guard. One tiny mistake will cause you to spin out completely. These two are teammates. They both drive for the VXs. The question is, will they do a swap? And I think that the thought and the idea is there. Luck goes through. Luck believes he's probably quicker than what Findlay is. Now, of course, for the boys that do follow the F1 side, I would say, aka cough cough Ferrari, this is how you do a team swap. As a fellow driver that is quicker than you, let him go. I mean, why hold him up? I'm just saying it just so that I can cause more debates in between the driving community that will just have 50 other things to say about that. Back to GT3 racing again. This is where the focus is, not F1. Much as I would love to say we are here to focus on F1, we are just not F1 focused. This is GT3 and only GT3. We'll have some banter here and there in between other drivers, but apart from that, we love the GT3s. Who doesn't? Who wouldn't? Okay, going back to the grid, not many races ongoing at this moment. This is the closest battle on track, apart from Luck and Findlay, but they are teammates battling it out. And of course, you've got Lorero there in the mix as well, so probably keep an eye out on these boys. Are fighting it for top 10 worth a shot to see what is happening in general and how this will evolve. It's of course tough task for Laredo to try and make a move on two fellow teammates ahead of him. But every point counts. Every position is worth it. One needs to succeed as best as I can. At the back of the pack, Greening seems to have passed Robson, or is Robson challenging for position? These two boys going side by side. Greening falling back. Does he not? Again, she's in wine. And I would assume this is one of those where one driver is quicker than the other one. Opening up the door, allowing them to challenge for grid position. Again, smart moves and choices. Still got to see how these guys evolve. Laredo looking quite hungry there for position. Is he going to sneak it on the inside, or is that Aston Martin going to widen the floor? Well, widen its stance, play defensive, and not allow the Ferrari to go through. You can see Luck has created a bit of a gap between himself and his teammate. So Luck seems to be in a better groove than what Findlay is. Probably a wise decision there for what they've made thus far. Nothing wrong with that. Overall teams battling around. Of course, there's another battle here at the back as well. Same thing, VXR versus LTR. Just the opposite away. Well, opposite in general, where we have the LTR boy ahead of VXR. Van Beek fighting it with Neville. Quiet this evening because I'm trying to preserve my voice as much as I can. So, as I said before, we've got two heavy battles ongoing at this stage. Team VXR versus Team LTR, Luck and Findlay having a go at each other, and then of course in 15th and 16th place we have Neville and Van Beek fighting it out. Now the roles are turned around differently on that side. Ooh, as Findlay goes deep. Will Laredo be able to do the cutback? Might be too hard for him because this is a shorter straight than start finish line. Managed to fend off Laredo. Slight error on his end. Now, of course, he definitely doesn't need to do that again. Two LNR boys at the back of them are slowly catching up these front gentlemen by minimal margins. But you can see the gap reducing in overall aspects. Oh, Laredo almost outbraked himself. I'm certain that he gasped there for air, just as I did not so long ago. It's not because I'm tired. It's just been a hard week in general. So we go find a few individuals. So on stream we still we still have again Horseworks, Toki, Alan, Erwi, Mare. So Jay Mare that had a fatal error and are unable to race. So sadly for you, Humbledy. Never nice losing a race when you have a severe error, which we call catastrophic failure. Ooh, again, action here. Luck has made a big mistake. Laredo potentially gaining 2 positions. Can he make it stick? He is fending off as much as he can. 2 teammates closing the door there on LTR. Not going to open it up for him. Side by side as they go through the first hairpin. Laredo making it stick. Finley doesn't want to give it up. He reckons they can go side by side through this corner. It will push out Laredo wide. Laredo needs to yield and come back. Oh, that was close. Phenomenal driving by all 3 drivers, pulling that off, going side by side the whole time, managing not to create too much contact and still pulling it off. A big win, I would say, for all 3 of those drivers, managing to pull that off. How they managed to do that is definitely one for the books. Much respect to one another. Going in side by side for 3 consecutive corners, and of course those were the slowest corners on track. I don't think any contact was made. Didn't look like there was. Finley, however, just didn't want to let that position go. Just felt like he is going to fight. If that was me as a driver, I would have yielded and go, it's yours, well done, Bobjanko. Finley just didn't. Went like, you can go deep in there, but I'm going to come around you and then challenge you through the corner, and if you're still willing to be there when we go down the start finish line, then you probably deserve that. Laredo being the clever individual, deciding to opt it out, still looking for places to make his move. I reckon if he's a bit patient, he will get that front of the pack though. Not a lot of changes though. So Van der Sand has managed to pull a gap in between himself and Leroux. He is 8 seconds adrift from Mawa, who is currently in 2nd position. And then of course Strijdom, probably the man what I call the untouchable at this moment, is still leading the race. And then of course we have Leroux here versus Nel Bullion. Epic battle since the start of the race. Ooh, pretty deep and drifting there by Nel. These guys coming up to a few back markers from the Base Motorsports team. I'm fairly certain they'll be able to manage that quite easily. less than 20 minutes of racing to go. Grid-wise, yes, in all fairness, we've had a few incidents, and I think in retrospective, probably not as much as we would have had in the previous 4 races till date. I'm just going to go and say, you know what, this is a massive swing and difference from a driver's standing point to what I've seen till date. Hands down a better performance. Now whether that's just rain, I don't know. And if that's the case, I'm just going to go and vote and say that the next race has to be rain. Talking about it, what is the next one? So Tuesday night TVT, next week's race, and I have to finish off with a legendary track of Silverstone. Now, Silverstone is the final race for the season of TVT. All that's going to be is a 25-minute practice followed by a 1-hour race. Now, if I know how the brains work of the individuals that do create these races, something tells me race finishing position here quantifies starting grid for next week. As it stands at this moment, everyone's got everything to fight for. So if that's the case, potentially next week's starting grid could be straight on Mauer, Van der Zandt, Leroux, William, Bauer, Vermeulen, Luck, Loredo and Findlay closing it off in the top 10. Or it could just be one of those fantastic things where they thicken the plot and do a reverse grid based on track finishing positions. Now, much as I love to throw a spanner in the wheel every so often and just see where it lands, I don't think that is a very wise one for a race finish. But then again, we'll see where it goes. I have absolutely no idea what these boys are thinking. In my head, just because there's no qualifying next week, I'm going to go, the grid is going to be set. Whether it will be set on how they finished or whether it will be reverse grid setup, I just don't know. Maybe just a top 10 reverse grid setup. That's to be determined. I honestly do not know. All I'm doing at this stage is speculating. A few more incidents that have been seen. So, Robson seemingly wasn't involved in some incident. Now, I don't know what has happened. I have probably missed that, so I'm going to go back and see if I can catch that up. Everything looks good. Laredo has managed to pass the driver. So positions has changed there. Why did I see a yellow flag on Wilfred Robson? Because he's no longer close to... Oh, that is what happened. Wilfred Robson tagging the rear end there of Findlay. Certainly not what Findlay would have wanted at all. That drops Findlay all the way back to 14th position. He was quite up there, battling it out with Loredo. Now Loredo has closed the gap between himself and Luck. Findlay was in 10th. He's now in 14. I reckon penalties will definitely be up for grabs for that one. Losing 10th spot is definitely not something that would put a smile on any driver's face. However, Loredo being the aggressor at this moment, looking for all kinds of gaps, and Luck is just not giving it for him, fighting it out as hard as he can for potentially as long as he can. I'm going to go to the front of the grid. These two boys are close to one another. Leroux closing the door, going very defensive. Does he hit his brake marker? Yes, he does. pushes Bullion out to the side. Bullion needs to go and try and do that one more time again. They were very, very close. But nonetheless, that has not occurred. Nor has this one. Oh! Nearly though. Luck did go deep there. Laredo did see it, but yielded. Going a bit off track. Comes back in. He needs to just focus in, zone in, and make sure what his plans are. 12 minutes of racing still to go. On Bake, on the other hand, he is closing the gap towards between him and Holzhausen. Needless to say, this is just for position, not those honorable top 10 spots. But then again, a position is a position. Making passes, making maneuvers, that is what it is. Let's see. Who is the top position gainer this evening? Oh, it is Hannes van Wyk. Van Wyk has, from start, race start till now, gained 18 positions from where he started off with. So, in all fairness, this man started in 30th position. Biggest winner this evening. Big thumbs up to him. Second to that would be Pullen here for Loadshed Panda. He has gained 13 positions from where he has started, so massive advancements for him. And then of course, as normal, we do need to go back to the individuals that have lost lots of positions. The man on my radar is Paul Venter, who is sadly seems to be in the pits. But second to him would be Dave Young. Again, very uncertain as to why he has dropped so many positions. Who is that yellow? Oh, that yellow seems to be Heineke. Heineke crawling back to the pits, avoiding all cars as he comes back onto the grid. Phenomenally done by him. Again, staying off the racetrack while everyone moves past him. Still a lot of work for him. He's 18 laps behind though. I don't know how he's managed that though. Like, that's definitely not a good race for him. Whether he has had a disconnect and then came back and raced further, and if that's the case, I applaud you, sir. I definitely applaud you. Purely just because you want to finish the race in class and in style. What you start, you finish strong, and I humbly respect that. Oh, Esso from pace went off the track, spun it around back onto position, lost a few places. But on the other hand, also making a few mistakes, dropping as we speak. Probably not losing that much momentum. He does need to get out of the way though, because there is ongoing battles going on. Of course, that by peripheral vision. Where was that? That was Bauer, I believe. Or Holzhausen and Van Wyk. El Bullion and Leroux. These boys have been fighting it out probably since the start of the race. And of course, Jason, on the other hand, still managing to keep Laredo behind, not giving up an inch, also not allowing him to capitalize on any corner entry or exit. So this battle seems like it will go forth for quite some time. The quickest guy on track still Sean Stradom with a 1:42.8. Oh, Hannes van der Sand. Oh, this has gone through a two-way battle now. Easy. I need to go back and watch this, but that opens the door for Leroux. Leroux's going on the outside. Is he going to take the position? No, he's not. I'm definitely going to go back and see what has happened there. That is a... So... Oh, what an unfortunate incident. Van der Sand seeing the BMW driver going off the track, trying to get away from the racing line. Van der Sand moving out of the way, and then they both collided. Now that does look like Van der Sand will have some damage. Now the question remains, will he be able to fend off those two boys hunting each other down? This has now become a three-way battle for third position. I think that Aston Martin of Van der Sand is hurt. Whether he'll be able to pull it off, that is the big question. Let's just see how the speed is between the three coming down the start-finish line. Don't see anything unusual on Van der Sand at all. He does go defensive though. Sticks it in. Goes deep, opens the door again for Leroux. It's all about managing momentum as you exit that corner. Slight error there by Van der Sand. I kind of get this feeling that Leroux is just licking his lips. He knows he's got this. He can see that that man is struggling corner to corner. All he needs is that little bit of a gap, an opportunity, and he will take it. But he needs to be cautious because Nel Bullion, who's been fighting with him throughout most of the duration of the race, is definitely ready to pounce on that too. So any one of these three boys make any error, a position will be lost. Again, as you see Van der Sand moving away ever so slightly, it does look like he's got a better second sector than most of the drivers though. He seems to have it on point. Like in that sector in general, he's up by 2/10 quicker than both Nel Bullion and Leroux. So I don't know what type of setup he is running, but that second sector he had it under the belt. Again, created the gap and has managed to move forward once again, still going into a defensive position. Speed-wise, I don't see any difference. I mean, going through the speed trap, Van der Sand is off by a kilometer, but that doesn't really seem to phase him. It's this second sector that he is just so good at. Look at Leroux, close to him. And let's just see if this occurs again, where Leroux just loses him through the second sector. Both of them looking quite strong and dominant thus far. Leroux, however, on the other hand, looks far more superior this time around. This is probably the instance where Hannes is more focused on what is going on behind him than in front of the track. But a three-way battle this is for sure. 3 minutes of racing left. These teammates are talking to one another and they will certainly encourage each other to just push it on, persevere, make it happen. Get this done. Get this done. That's all that counts. Big points up for grabs here for Pace Motorsport team. Of course, we've got Kalen Mawa here. Way in front in second place. And then, of course, Van Strijdom not phased at all. But the battle is here. This is where everything counts. Very deep there by Van der Sande. Leroux opens up the door. This is his for the taking. Van der Sande needs to yield, has no real choice there. That is one position lost, one position gained. Again, marginal error, marginal. All he did was outbraked himself into turn one, lost the momentum. Van Wyk just went, thank you, I'll take that, yes please. And now he's going to skid away. And hopefully not be challenged again by either Van der Sande or Bullion. Bullion, on the other hand, will hope for another opportunity like that. And again, as Leroux makes a slight error into that corner, brings them back closer again. Still plenty of action to go. This was 65 minutes of adrenaline racing from start to finish. Just over a minute to go. Three-way battle ongoing for the final podium. Currently, Leroux has it in the bag if he can keep both Van der Sande and Bullion behind him. Again, there's not a lot of points that the Pace Motorsports boys are losing, but it would have been nice having both of them on the podium as a show of face that we are Pace is here to fight. But nonetheless, it's not over until the fat lady sings, and we are on the final lap. Strijdom, on the other hand, is running through the S's. No one challenging him at all with a best time of 1:42.8. The man has been unstoppable this evening. Of course, I did not showcase him at all because the minute he had a gap to take, he took it, and there was just no one that could challenge him at all. Pace, on the other hand, tried to rein him in, did not have it in him this time, but to be fair, maintained that gap between them for about 5 seconds since he got released. So I think it's a big up race this evening in between everyone itself. And of course, I'm going to remain focused here for Strijdom as he enters the second last corner, coming down to the start finish line, bringing it home for yet another victory and a checkered flag. First place winning position by Strijdom, followed by Kalen Mawa. Now of course these boys fighting it out for the final podium. Looks like Leroux is gonna take it for sure. I don't think Van der Sande or Bullion are gonna take it off him, but that is third, fourth and fifth place putting it through. What a phenomenal drive by all these drivers. Vermeulen there in fifth, Bauer in sixth, Loureiro bringing it home in eighth. Again, first of the LTR boys. And then of course, Luck there in ninth, followed by Holzhausen in 10th, Van Wyk in 11th, Findlay in 12th, Neville, Robson. Then of course we have Paul and Buetta not far off that. What a drive by the drivers. Oh, is everyone back in the pits? What is these boys? Don't even do a whole circuit track or anything. Absolutely awful. Let's just look at Hall crossing the finish line there for 15th place. And then of course we have Buetta, Bullen, Lee Bullion. Wilford has already passed. I have seen him, the man in the Mercedes, done a phenomenal drive. And of course Mouton Vanneberg and so forth. Where is the spinning guys? Whew, everyone in the pits. Well, that was, in all fairness, a phenomenal race by all drivers. Lamborghini throwing it out there, closing it off, tagging the Ferrari. To everyone on the stream, I gotta admit, this was really, really, really a great race. I absolutely enjoyed it. One for the books, one to watch again. Again, I think a few minor incidents, but that is to be expected with this race conditions. As I said before, next week we are at Silverstone for the final race. Of course, that is going to be phenomenal. Again, not a qualifying there, so final race for the season. Hope I see you and catch you on the streams. From my end, thank you for the support. Give a shout out to everyone else there, all the South African sim racing communities. Big ups, let's go, let's race hard. What else can I say? From my end, good night, God bless, goodbye, have a good evening. Till next week.